Now that Solis has been out for about a week, I thought I'd share my first thoughts and opinions about her. I'm really liking this operator and having a lot of fun. I'm glad she's a 2-speed, it feels appropriate, I have the ability to move around the map quickly, go on a rotation, flank, and especially get more info from a different side of the map. I feel like I've got an appropriate amount of health as well, and I don't really feel like I'm getting gunned down. One thing that is alright about her is her gun. The P90 is not anything to be excited for, and the shotgun's not that much better, but it does have a lot of ammo, which allows you to miss shots, kind of recover, get a headshot, and especially if you're trying to plant deny it, right here, you can spray through the floor. One thing that I've noticed though is if you don't use the impact grenades, it's pretty difficult to get a kill through the floor, especially with the P90. You have to know which way those crossbeams are going. In this clip right here, I was watching the bomb, and as soon as an enemy picked it up, I knew they were there and hopped out on him. Of course, this brings me back to the point about the P90. It's got a lot of recoil, and especially on larger targets, you need to make sure to either get a headshot or land those body shots. This clip here, I was able to track out Blitz and call him out. Luckily, he exposed his head, which made it real easy for me. But that's something that you can do with this characters. Find characters like Blitz, IQ, or anyone else that's really on their gadget and just using their drone too much. One weird thing about this is if you notice, Blitz's shield is scannable even after he's dead. I don't think that's a glitch. It makes sense that you can do that, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be too advantageous. One way that I like to use Solis is to track the bomb's movement. If you're able to find the diffuser because you killed the carrier, or if they just drop it on a pathway outside, you can track it and find out when someone picks it up, and then usually you can either guess what's the closest entrance they're going to, or try to cut them off to, let's say, the nearest thermited wall. In this clip here, you see how it can be useful when flanking. You're able to spot out claymores, and especially call them out for your team so your other roamers don't get hit. One of the drawbacks of this operator is she's not good in every situation. She's good when the enemy player is using electronics, but let's say you're in a 1v1 with an Ash, basically your ability is nulled out there. If she's not using any electronics like a claymore or her drone, and you're just on the other side of the wall trying to outplay her and it's a gunfight, you don't really have anything in that situation, and you're basically just a 2-speed, 2-armor with a P90. When, of course, in that situation, it may be more advantageous to be Legion or another 2-speed, 2-armor character. Her ability does come in really handy, though, if you're with a team, and can kind of coordinate which defenders you're going to use. If you've got someone to anchor, and you've got a couple people that can maybe put up cams or help you roam, as well as not just using your ability, but to spot other people that aren't on electronic devices, then she's very strong. But if you're playing by yourself and you need to pick a defender, she may not be the best person to pick. You may find yourself better with a smoke, or let's say Legion. Like I said, Legion's a really strong operator, and if you're playing solo, I don't know if I could say that she'd be better than Legion. That being said, I do think she's one of the stronger operators, and with coordination, if you've got her on the enemy team, you're going to have yourself a hell of a day. There were a few games that I noticed her ability wasn't very useful or didn't seem to help my team, and I probably should have chosen a different operator. Having Rook armor plates is always a plus, and especially if you're healing people with Conadines. Those are almost never a bad choice. But there are certain objectives where I felt like Solis wasn't the right choice, and my team didn't have a smoke, and let's say we're downstairs in Oregon, I probably should have ran smoke instead. But there weren't too many times where we didn't have a Solis, and I felt like, hey, we really need a Solis. It's always something that helps, and if you have coordination, it can be a good strategy. But I have a feeling that she's really going to be used in specific situations, especially once everyone gets the new operator feel out of the way there. So just to recap, I think Solis is going to be one of the better operators in the game, and is already probably one of the best. But you don't reach her maximum potential unless you have coordination with your team. If you're playing solo, there's only so much you can do because you only see the enemy team while they're using electronics. If you could pulse them out like Pulse does, that'd be a little different. It'd be a little more effective, but you really have to rely on having coordination with your team, saying, hey, here's where someone is, and then maybe coordinate to hit them from 2 angles, or let's say, like I said, track the bomb through the floor, know when you could hop out, call out claymores, things like that. You can save a lot of deaths by, say, destroying a claymore. That will even give ghost pressure. If the enemy team sees that you destroyed their claymore, they now have to keep checking their back. That's always a plus. If you're solo queuing and are running up against, let's say, a team of people, they may have the drone operator farther away while giving callouts to the person following and chasing the drone. This is going to make it really hard for you to stop that rush, especially because you're seeing the drone, not the person following it to kill you. So the less communication you have and coordination you have with your team, the less effective this operator is, but overall, A+.